Hello everybody, Michael here for Tactica Imperialis. I'm going to continue my series about the Horus Heresy in this video. I just want to give you a brief early history lesson. Well, not a lesson, but just sort of explain where the heresy came from and sort of the first exchanges. I'm probably going to need two videos to explain it. One to explain the build-up and one to explain the start. So to begin with, I want to go back to before Horus became War Master. The Emperor was still leading the Great Crusade, all was going practically peachy for the Imperium of Man. And Lorgar was the Primarch of the Wordbearers. He's since ascended to demonhood, and he was a priest before he became a Space Marine. He was a priest and a healer, not a healer, but he wasn't a fighter. And wherever the Wordbearers went, they spread the word. They passed on news of the Emperor, and they venerated him. They almost worshipped him. Now, oddly enough, the Emperor was not best pleased with this, actually. He wanted to be seen as a leader, not a god. I know he didn't get his way, but that's a different matter. So he got very annoyed with the Wordbearers. So he sent the Ultramarines. Yes, the Ultramarines, the poster boys, Guilliman, all that, were sent, I'm not sure how many were sent to wherever the Wordbearers were. And they basically gave the Wordbearers the ultimate, downgrading or degradation they could. Guilliman had the entirety of the Wordbearers Legion kneel. The entirety of the Wordbearers Legion was forced to kneel before Guilliman and the Ultramarines. And this almightily pissed off Erebus, Lorgar, Corpheiron, all the other hierarchy of the Wordbearers Legion who did not want to be told that. So, Erebus, who was the first chaplain of the Wordbearers, so you'd think he would be the advocate of their faith in the Emperor and all that, and he would be the most inspirational leader for the Imperium. Wrong. He, I believe, I could be wrong because I don't know all the background, was the first to fall to chaos. He was the one who led the Wordbearers into chaos, not Lorgar, oddly enough. They just kept doing what they were doing, and slowly but surely they descended. Now, this was where the first start of the heresy came from. Not in Horus himself, he came later. So let's jump forward in time to around about 10,000 years before the 40k today, so around about 30k, 31k. And Horus has just been appointed War Master of the Great Crusade. The Emperor has gone back to Terra. Some say he was going to try and unlock the Webway, because the warp, as we know, is perilous to travel and all that business. The Eldar can't even use it, so they developed the Webway, which is a safer, faster transport system. So the Emperor wanted to unlock the secrets of the Webway and utilise it for humanity. I can't blame him. But he put Horus in charge. Now, Horus had his Honour Guard, which would probably be classed as Chapter Masters today. They were Garviel Loken, Horus something, he had a second name, there was one other, and there was I think it was Ezekiel Abaddon. Abaddon, yes. And Horus at this time had the Talon of Horus installed on his fist, and I think he had a mace by this point called Worldbreaker. He may have got this later on in the Heresy. But he was appointed the leader of the Great Crusade, so he was sort of in charge. And he was a warrior. He wasn't quite the best leader out there. That fell, obviously, with the Emperor and with Guilliman, who were very good tactical people, whereas Horus was a little bit more of a blunt instrument. Anyway, fast forward a little bit more, and Horus is wounded, near fatally wounded, by I think it's Ammonite sword, or by some sort of poison that his Space Marine biology couldn't counter properly. And he was grievously wounded by this sword. The planet's name doesn't spring to mind. I thought it was Davin. I might be getting that mixed up with Yavin from Star Wars. I could, if someone could leave that in the comment section for me, I'd much appreciate it, because I borrowed the first few Heresy books, but I don't own them. So I'm a little bit rusty. So Horus was grievously wounded, and he was taken to not a shrine, but a healing temple on the world they were on. And the rule was, in 3 days, those doors are going to open. Either Horus is going to walk out alive and well, or he is going to be dead. One or the other. So the sons of Horus carried him in there, put him in there, left, sealed the doors, and in 3 days they were going to open. Now, Horus began to dream, sort of generally dreaming, and somehow, I'm not sure how, through some sort of psychic trickery, Erebus was there in his dream. And Erebus was talking about the power that the Chaos Gods could offer him. They could heal him, they could make him stronger, they could make him the leader of the Imperium, and all that. And Horus was beginning to be swayed by this. He was beginning to fall to chaos, and now it was becoming desperate. And another Primarch showed up. This was Magnus the Red. Magnus the Red was the Primarch of the Thousand Sons, who were at this point still loyal to the Emperor. And Magnus appeared in Horus's head. Obviously, he'd got wind of this psychically somehow. He was a master psychic and absolutely huge. 3 eyes, apparently. And he was basically arguing with Erebus and with Horus, what the heck are you doing? You cannot do this. You would rather die than betray your own father, surely. And it turned into a big argument inside Horus's mind between Magnus, Erebus, and Horus. And eventually Horus sided with Erebus. He fell to chaos slightly. And so he was healed by the powers of the Chaos Gods. I don't know if anyone in particular had a role to play in that, possibly Nurgle or Zench. And obviously 3 days after he was implanted in the chamber, the doors opened, he walked out alive and well. His brothers could not believe it. They were shocked. Now, what happened to Magnus is another story. That is known as the Scouring of Prospero, is it the Raising of Prospero? And this was the Emperor being really miffed at Magnus. That's another story. I want to focus on Horus for this video. So Horus got together a conclave of fellow Primarchs. Fulgrim of the Emperor's Children. I found Fulgrim actually just while my brain switched on. Just bear with me. I found Fulgrim's model. I was looking in the wrong issue, believe it or not. So Fulgrim is just here. That is Fulgrim. Scenic base and all. There is a smaller version of this, and you can see the Slaneshi base already. So Fulgrim, Angron, who I showed to you in my video, which would be uploaded on Wednesday, Mortarion of the Death Guard, obviously his Mornival, and they conspired to overthrow the Emperor. The first thing they did was purge their own legions of those who were still loyal. Obviously not everybody supported what was going on. So they got to the world of Istvan III. Istvan III was being very rebellious, and they couldn't quite put it down. And the Marines who were still Imperial were sent to the Coral City, C-H-O-R-A-L, not Coral, and they were sent to assault it, take it for the Emperor, as you do. Loken was in this charge, as was one of the Mornival, because they weren't exactly keen on what was going on, and I think they worked out what was going on. Anyway, so they start this fight, and they get in, and they practically overthrow Coral City. They take it, and then all hell breaks loose. Virus bombs start to fall. Virus bombing is a method that we now know as exterminatus. It's one form of exterminatus. It's dropping massive bombs that wipe out all biological life. It is the ultimate anti-Tyranid weapon, if anybody's interested. And they dropped these on Istvan III, and it scoured the planet. The Marines were not killed. Those who were inside Coral City managed to survive. There were Emperor's Children, World Eaters, Sons of Horus, Death Guard, all entrenched in there. And when Horus worked out that he hadn't quite wiped them out, he let loose. He himself stayed in orbit on his ship, and I can't remember the name of it for trying. But Angron came down, Mortarion came down, Lucius the Eternal, who was not eternal by this point, but he came down for the Emperor's Children, and they began to scour the planet. And eventually the planet was practically scoured clean of marine life. The final culmination of this battle was between the Mornival. So Little Horus Aximand, that's his name, Horus Aximand and Abaddon made planetfall, and Loken and one of the others. Was Little Horus on Loken's side? I can't remember. But the big fight was between Loken and Abaddon. Loken, who had power armor, bolt pistol, chainsaw, he was your typical captain, really. or sergeant. Abaddon in cataphracti Terminator armor, which is an old build of Terminator armor. Wrist-mounted Stormbolter, a lightning claw that very much resembles the Talon of Horus, a power sword that reminds us of Dracnian, which is his demon weapon much later. So the model they made for Abaddon was very much a foreshadow of the Abaddon we know. Massive talon, massive sword, Terminator armour, not ponytail, but whatever you call him, top knot, and he was very much like the Abaddon of today. And so there was a cataclysmic war between the two of them. And in the end, Loken died. Loken was trapped under rubble by Abaddon, and then I think Horus unleashed an orbital bombardment just to make sure that the planet was destroyed, pretty much. And that was the heresy revealed. The World Eaters, Death Guard, Emperor's Children, and Sons of Horus were purged of their loyalist brethren, and they became the traitor legions. Obviously, there are more still to fall. I'm going to, for example, use the Thousand Sons, who fell much later. And the one Death Guard captain managed to escape. His name was Nathaniel Garrow, I believe. And he was a Death Guard captain who escaped from Istvan III. He took a ship, the Eisenstein, which was crippled in the warp, and he hightailed it back to Terra, or the nearest Imperial outpost, to get word to the Emperor of what was going on. And the Emperor got word of this, obviously, as you do. And he was almightily annoyed. So he sent the Iron Hands, he sent the Salamanders, he sent the Raven Guard, he sent the Alpha Legion, he sent the Night Lords, he sent the Word Bearers, and possibly the Iron Warriors as well, and he sent them all after Horus. Not in their entirety, obviously, but Ferrus Manus, Primarch of the Iron Hands, was there, Vulcan was there, Korax was there, and they were all just sent. Now, they came on Istvan V. Istvan V, which became known as the Drop Site Massacre. So, the Raven Guard, Salamanders, and Iron Hands were the first wave. They were the first wave. They were going to make planetfall, smash into the traitors, and be reinforced by the Alpha Legion, the Night Lords, the Word Bearers later on. That was the plan anyway. So they make planetfall, and all's going swimmingly. They're battering the traitors back. Manus is on a practical rampage. He's killing everything that he can get near. Any traitor that went near Manus was getting pulverized. And eventually he met Fulgrim, and those two went into a titanic clash. What went wrong, because those of you who know your Chaos Marines will know, the Night Lords, Word Bearers, and Alpha Legion are the traitor legions. They had been tempted by Erebus and whoever else before Istvan V. And so they came in as the reserve wave and caught them in a trap. They trapped the Raven Guard, they trapped the Salamanders, they trapped the Iron Hands. The Iron Hands were already knee-deep in Emperor's Children, World Eaters, and co. by this point. But the Salamanders took grievous casualties. Their Primarch Vulcan was lost. The Raven Guard took horrific casualties. Very few escaped. Ferrus Manus and Fulgrim engaged in a titanic duel. And in the end, it ended with Ferrus Manus being beheaded, decapitated by Fulgrim, who returned his head to Horus as a trophy. And with that, the Iron Hands were routed as well. Some escaped, obviously, because they wouldn't exist now if they didn't. And it was a disaster for the Imperium. At this point now, about a third of the legions had turned, and it was all going wrong. While this was going on, Prospero was being raised, I believe, by the Space Wolves. The Word Bearers then went after Calth, which was an ultramarine world in Macragge, or Ultramar, sorry, Macragge is the ultramarine homeworld, and all sorts of other business was going on, and the heresy was revealed entire. The Emperor realised how much of a threat he faced, and he mustered the legions to fight. And that was the beginning of the Horus Heresy, from the taint of Erebus to the anatheme on, I believe it was Davin, from the temptations in the dream to Istvan III and the virus bombing, up to the Eisenstein and Istvan V and the Drop Zone Massacre. And that was the first 5 heresy novels, pretty much. And these were enshrined in lore, and these became the story. Of course, all the other novels tell other stories. For example, Angel Exterminatus tells the story of Perturabo and Fulgrim, and there are loads of others out there. I should point out, actually, when Horus was gathering his conclave of Primarchs, amongst them was Sanguinius. Sanguinius being Primarch of the Blood Angels, and Horus's best mate. Those two were like two peas in a pod. They were so close. And Sanguinius took it especially hard, the betrayal of his brother, hence why he went up to the battle barge. But that's another story for another day. So, thank you for watching. I hope you found this informative or entertaining. Hopefully you can go out and buy the books now from Horus Rising, False Gods, Galaxy in Flames, Fighting the Eisenstein, and Fulgrim. Go out and get them. They'll expand on everything I've said today, possibly say some stuff I forgot, or correct me, and I just think they'd be really good for you to watch. So, or no, read. I'm going to do a bit more on the Heresy. I'm probably going to do the Scouring of Prospero pretty soon. I may also do the Tale of Angel Exterminatus. So, thank you for watching. Leave your opinions in the comments. Be sure to like the video. This should either be up, this probably will be up Saturday, if not Sunday. Again, thank you for watching. My name is Michael, and I will see you again.